Right.
Okay, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Mute.
We are
Let me
recording
mute
right
everybody.
now. Yeah,
Already.
you'll mute everybody. Cool, except for me.
Oh, I got
Okay,
to
guys,
undo you in a
for
second.
those of
I told you had to give me a second.
okay, I know I talk too much. You wouldn't be the first to silence me. Or not last. Hey guys, Pete Ramsey here. Welcome to session number 6 of our 14-day challenge, which is continuing on social media. We've covered a lot of stuff in this point, but let's just jump right on where we left off last time. And with no further ado, Dennis.
Thanks, Pete. I appreciate it. So we're going to do a couple things tonight. First of all, we're going to finish up on our talk about posting. Like Pete mentioned in the group today when he did his little blast out there, we're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn posting, some YouTube stuff, and then we're going to step a little bit into something also that's really important, I think is pretty much front of mind to you guys, and that's a little reputation management. What happens when things aren't going all that great online in your favor? So we're going to get through that. That should probably take us about half our time. Then we're going to move into the next phase. So we're going to be out of that attraction phase, and we're going to step into the connection phase. And that's where I'm going to step in. I'm going to show you guys how to have the mindset that when you're online, how you got to be thinking to connect with your prospects. So we've engaged them. Now we got to connect with them. And I'll also show you the biggest screw up most contractors make when they're trying to get into that stage and what prohibits them from having success. So that's what we're going to cover today. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tori now. So Ms. Mathis, why don't you do your part? Welcome.
Absolutely. All right. So share my screen there. So like Dennis said, we're going to kind of build upon everything that we've been talking about in the past. Last week, we talked all about how to set everything up, starting with your Facebook personal profile to your business page. Then we went on to LinkedIn. We talked about how to set up your LinkedIn page, your profile, and your business page on LinkedIn. Then we talked a whole lot about posting yesterday, and I know it might have been a little bit overwhelming, so I hope that everybody can possibly review that a little bit later after everything is kind of sunk in and really start to use some of those ideas, along with what Dennis is going to talk about later, a little bit more strategic things on how to connect with your audience even more. So today, I'm going to go back a little bit more tactical again and show you how to post on LinkedIn a couple of different ways. We're going to talk a little bit about YouTube, and like Dennis said, we're going to talk about reputation management, which is so important, and how to kind of deal with some of those things that can come up online. So the first thing we're going to talk about is posting on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is fantastic for business to business marketing. So anytime you're doing things business to homeowner, it's going to be really great to do Facebook. But if you're looking to work with other businesses, then LinkedIn is definitely somewhere that you need to spend some time. It's a little bit more serious than Facebook. So some of the more fun stuff that you do on Facebook might not be as appropriate here, but you can still show a little bit of your personality. So I'm going to show you how to actually post on LinkedIn. Now, at the very top of LinkedIn, right next to your picture, is going to be a place that says Start Post. And so this is just like posting on Facebook, and you can do a video, you can do an image, or you can just type in what you'd like to post there. And when you start to, right when you click to start your message, let me go back to where that was, where it says Start Post, this little box is going to pop up, and it says, what do you want to talk about? And that's where you can type in what you want to do. And I know last week we talked a little tiny bit about hashtags. This is where hashtags are going to come in on LinkedIn. And the things that you post on LinkedIn, you do want a hashtag, because that's actually like a linked keyword inside of whatever it is that you're posting. And the nice thing about LinkedIn is that it's actually going to give you options for you so that you don't really have to go out and research which hashtags to link in. For example, it knows what I already follow. It already knows the kind of things that I post. So even before I start typing, it's saying that I probably am going to want to hashtag marketing small business, business and sales, because those are things that I already post about. So it is going to give you some options there. And I'm going to show you where you can go and find a little bit more about hashtags. So hashtags on LinkedIn, like I said, it's a link that is connecting you to other searches, and you can actually follow hashtags on LinkedIn as well. And what that means is that anytime anybody uses that hashtag and you're following it, you'll have a little it'll actually make its own little feed for you. So for example, you could follow HVAC, and there's actually quite a few people that are following that. It is a hashtag on there that is used. And so anytime anybody posted with that hashtag, even if you're not following them, that would come up. So you have to decide what kind of things that you are going to be following, the kind of people that you want to be talking to on LinkedIn. If you're talking to realtors, maybe you want to delve into and see what some of those subjects are. So you don't want to put any spaces into your hashtags, like other places that you hashtag. You want to use the hashtag symbol or the pound symbol, right? That's what it used to be, right? It's the pound symbol. And then you don't want to put any punctuation and any spaces, because if you put a space in there, it actually breaks it up into the next one. So let's see. You can edit your profile settings and make sure that it's visible to everyone. And I think that's the default. So in case you've made your page private at any time, you can go into your settings and make sure that your profile is public. So that means anything that you post or the articles that you post are public. And the reason that's important is that you're not connected to everybody yet, or you're not connected to everybody, but by somebody using that hashtag, or by you using that hashtag, your information or their information, if they're using it, is automatically going to be connected and come up in that feed about the hashtag. So let me show you where to go for that. So if you go into the search box at the very top of LinkedIn, you can put hashtag and then put in whatever you want. And the nice thing is as you start typing, it's actually going to start filling in popular options for you. So that's kind of one of the ways that you can start to kind of investigate and kind of do some research and see what's going on with some of these hashtags on there. I don't personally use LinkedIn for HVAC, so this is going to be something that you're going to have to do a little bit. And maybe if somebody finds some things, they could post them in the HVAC Greatness group so that people can get some ideas on what to do. But you can see that HVAC, there's over 18,000 people are following that hashtag. So that's quite a few people, considering that LinkedIn has businesses from every industry on there. So then if you want to follow a hashtag, you actually go and right next to it, the follow button, which you can see right there with the big red arrow. So then if you want to actually see the ones that you're following, you want to, where your picture is, you want to scroll all the way down, and it's going to show you your followed hashtags. So I went in there today and looked at mine, and it looked like it might have followed some for me. So this is an interesting place for you to go. You might not have actually even known that it was there on your LinkedIn profile, but you can go on there and you can follow more hashtags, or you can edit the ones that you are following, and then that's where you would click and see the ones that you're following. So this is a really good way that you can follow your industry, or you can follow other industries. So when you're trying to come up with ideas on things to post or things to share on LinkedIn, this could be a really good place, kind of like we talked about the pages to watch. This is like entire subjects to watch. So if you have a specific industry that you're talking to, or a specific like if you're talking to realtors or whatnot, this might be the place that you follow their ideas on there. And so I hope that makes sense for everybody.
So Tori, would you recommend people putting in, so when they're obviously they're putting their article out there, let's say someone's going after real estate agents, and that's their prospect that they're trying to work with on LinkedIn. So at that point, they want to, whatever article they post on there that's trying to attract real estate agents, that's what they want. You want to be thinking, what is intriguing to a real estate agent, right? And those are what you put in your hashtags, because that's what they're going to be following.
Absolutely. You want to do some research on the people that you're following and see what kind of posts and what kind of hashtags they're using. And like I said, if you just start typing in realtor, all types of different realtor things come up. And so some of them are more like realtor to realtor, like realtors on LinkedIn. And so that's kind of them like talking amongst themselves. So you'd have to look and see what the things that they're actually posting. And a really good thing is if you have a big realtor in your area that's active on LinkedIn, go look and see what they post. Because if they're posting articles and if they're active on LinkedIn, they're putting hashtags on their stuff so that they could get fined as well. So that's one way for you to go and look and see kind of what things they're interested in, because you don't want to talk to other necessarily HVAC people. You want to talk to other people in the industry you're trying to reach. So you do need to go, and I would suggest, pick like 5 realtors if that's like, for example, who you wanted to follow, and go see what they're posting about and see what their hashtags are, so that you can start to get into that conversation that's already going on with them, and you can be beneficial to the conversations that they're having.
And you can also look on their profile to see what they're following, right?
Absolutely. I don't know if you can see their followed hashtags. I actually didn't go to somebody else's profile.
I just saw that right now. I was wondering if you could do that. Interesting. I'll check it out.
let's I can take a look. I'll go to, I have LinkedIn pulled up here. And let's see, I'll go to yours and see if there's anything. So it does have interests. So those are things that you are interested in, but I don't see hashtags specifically. But still, if you go to find and see the things that they're doing on there, you can find a lot of information about them just looking through their posts and their articles.
Just out of curiosity, click on more.
Absolutely.
See. Wonder if that would. No.
So share profile, save to PDF, give kudos, request a recommendation, recommend, unfollow.
Okay.
So it wasn't there.
Those were checking, but yeah, cool.
Absolutely. All right, so I went on there and I typed in home, and you can see that some things started coming up. So home services, home builder, home builders, home improvements. So there are some other things in there. And if you just, it's like Google, if you start typing, it's gonna be the popular one will probably come up first, and then it's gonna give you other things down from there. So not very hard to do some research there. And then once you click on one of these, it tells you how many followers are there. And I tried to look to see if there was like a really great service or a website that you could go to find out like what the most popular hashtags are. And there are some, but they're so general, or there's so many of them are for marketers or for job seekers that I didn't think that it was relevant. So definitely, if you guys want to inspect that a little bit further, look into that. But there wasn't something that I felt was strong enough to share with you guys tonight. So not only can you do posts on LinkedIn, but you can also publish articles. And so this has a little bit more clout than just your posts that show up on feed. This is an actual library of your articles on LinkedIn. So it's a little bit different when you want to post, but you start in the same area. Exactly where you went to start a post, you would actually say write an article on LinkedIn. And so here it's actually going to come up with almost looks like a blog post where you can add a picture and then you start to type, and you can add videos in there, you can add images, and then once you get to the bottom, it's again going to ask you for hashtags. And so you do want to hashtag that, which are kind of like keywords. Same thing that you would do on LinkedIn or other places where you would use keywords. You want to make sure that those hashtags, those keywords are in there so that it'll come up on anybody that is searching that term. Dennis, do you want to add anything about sharing articles on there?
No, just what I mentioned the other night when you go to that feedly.com. That's a great place to find articles. And the cool thing about that is when you share one of those articles over to your LinkedIn post, you just copy and paste the link in there. So up where you go to do the post, it will auto-populate like a picture of the post, but it will also automatically include all of the hashtags in there. And some of these articles have a ton of hashtags, so you don't have to go out. If you find something cool on indoor air quality or furnace efficiency or whatever, and you want to post it on there, or something for real estate agents, it's awesome the way Feedly, those articles have all the hashtags built into them. You don't have to go in, you can just click it in there, post, boom, and you'll get a ton of views out of it just by doing that, because it'll go in everyone's feed.
So is it like how I did it here where the hashtags come up like that? Or do you have to actually, because here you have to actually click to add which ones you want to add. Does it actually already put them in?
It auto-populates everything in there. Whatever hashtag was already attached to that article when it was originally published online will automatically populate in there.
Awesome. So if you want to do share articles, you may want to make sure that you do that under start post. So if you're sharing somebody else's article, that would be a shared post. If you're writing an article, that one is your original content. So if you have articles or things on your website, that's where you want to put those ones. Cool. All right, so a little bit more on YouTube, how to actually go in there, just for anybody that isn't sure how to actually go through the process of posting on YouTube. When you're logged into your Google account, you'll go to your picture and click on it, and you'll go down to your channel. And that's going to have all the management things for your own channel. Once you do that, you'll go to YouTube Studio, which is a big blue button up there. And then there's a little button at the top that you can create a video or a post. Then you upload your video. It's going to give you a whole bunch of options, and you just kind of go down and start filling it out. And you want to make sure that you fill out each part of it. You want to have your title. You want to include keywords in your title, and then keywords in your description as well, because along with actually putting in your keywords, that's how your video is going to be searchable so that people can find them. And so at the bottom, there's going to be tags as well. So you want to tag for what your video is about. So those would be the keywords that you want to put in. And even if you don't make any of these videos, Pete sent me a really great video today. And it's a video that somebody has put, that he did for another company, that just talks about their company. So that way, if anybody Googles your company, your video is going to come up first. And you could do it as simple as a slideshow. I actually have that video. I have the video on YouTube and on Facebook. So I just want to show you guys that really quick, because it's a really great way. Like I said, you have the ability to control your image and control your marketing message. And this is a great way to take control of that and put forth a really great first impression. All right, so here is the video. Doesn't have to be hard to do, but if you put something together like that, put in your keywords, make sure that you put in the area that you're in. So, you know, Denver, HVAC, those type of things. Pete, do you have anything to add to this? Because it's so simple, and so it makes so much sense just to do something like this.
Yeah. Anytime you're trying to optimize a video, the video has to really be keyword specific. You can't rank videos very easily anyhow for a number of different keywords. So in this case, this is if in the case that Climatech Air is being Googled by, you know, okay, I saw this website, I saw this truck, who are they? We rank this so that it comes up on the page one of the Google results. And so hopefully it's kind of looked at as a third party, you know, validating and, you know, give a little bit of credibility out the gate. So they'll have to optimize that and post it on their channel. Now, the conditions have changed, but I know it was AdSense at one point, if you added AdSense to your account, but now they've moved the line again. But your ability to put your thumbnail on your photo and go in there and just create one unique that's going to hopefully draw the attention of you know, your prospect in that particular state of mind. So you want to think that out. You can actually install that. But when you're new, you have to pick that random spot in the video. And I'm not sure what those new requirements are, but they did change them for those of us who are grandfathered. So many subscribers, so many hours of views, something like that. Yeah.
So is there a way specifically to kind of get your stuff on that first page of Google? Is there a trick to it, or is it just so rapidly changing that we don't really know? Is there like a little, you know, is there a little hack that actually?
Right. This is actually Paige. She was in this group the other night, and she says, how do I do the YouTube videos? So we did a whole session, and there's actually a little training program that teaches you every step on this. And I pointed her to that direction. She decided to go with that and have us come in and do it, which is fine. But the video tells you how to do it yourself, the training program. And essentially it comes down to these key elements: producing it around a specific set of keywords. If your keywords are, let's say you have a voiceover and you're recording, you know, some type of a narrative, you want to word that in a way that that keyword repeats a few times throughout the video. Don't make them too long, keep them short to the point. And then you go in and make sure that that is either uploaded as closed caption, or you go in and manually do that, so that, because, Google can't hear that YouTube video and understand it if we've seen the auto closed captions, as proof. So what you need to do is go in there and type those, and then it knows what the content is even further. Before you even put it up on YouTube, there's a file, and you can open up the properties on that, and there's all this stuff that you can fill in that talks about the video, so you can optimize it there. When you get into YouTube on your channel, all the things that Tori just mentioned, fill out all that stuff and optimize it there. It'll read those first 2 or 3 lines generally as the most important. So you want to have your keyword in the title, and then again in the first sentence. And you can kind of, if there's 2 ways to spell it, or abbreviate it, you may want to do it that way, just to capture all of them. And then you can actually go out and promote it over on your Google AdWords. And, like you have pay-per-click, you can manage a pay-per-view campaign and pick out, just people in your demographic area under the right, age group, and this, that, and the other. You can dial that in and promote the video in front of those people. You can actually advertise on your on manufacturers' channels, or on certain competitors' channel. If they're monetized, you can actually advertise right off to the right within YouTube as well. So there's a little bit to it, but the cool thing is, once it's done, it's done. We've got videos that we optimize in big cities like Fort Lauderdale that are still there 4 years later, and this guy hasn't done anything to promote it. And initially he did. It made it to page 1. It just stayed. It's still there. So it's putting in that work up front, making sure that YouTube and Google both understand what that content is.
That's awesome. Great info. Yeah, shoot that link to me, Pete. That sounds like something worthwhile to go through. I'd love to check that out, because I can't imagine, I don't know, Tori can probably talk to this too. I can't imagine there's not a point in time where Google's not going to monetize that and say, hey, if you want your videos up here on the front page, it costs this much money. So I guess learn it and get it while it's free, right?
I agree. Yeah. But there's other ways to use them too. So.
Yeah, and in this particular case, Pete, you're just doing it for like this one particularly. You're optimizing it for the name of the company, right? So there's no competition for the name of the company, really. So this one in particular would be, something that if you did, filled it all out right and got it all done, that you would come up first for your own name, and rather than just pulling up, your LinkedIn page or your website. I mean, you're coming up like Google is putting your video up there. It looks pretty sharp, right, for anybody that comes to search for you, correct?
Yeah, and that opens up a really good. I should say this. Depending on what that name is, it could actually get competition. We did one for a company called MD Air Conditioning, and the owner, he jumps in these groups as well. He's an HVAC Greatness group, and it conflicts with Maryland MD Air Conditioning companies, and so his was a little bit more difficult to rank. So those are different variables. It's the competition, but if it's your company name specifically, and nobody else is really doing this, it's pretty easy to get on page 1, as long as it doesn't have some type of an ambiguous version of it that Google will get confused on. Now, on the other end, you've got like services like AC repair. Well, you can put AC repair, and the rest of that, now you're competing with the whole world. But when you put your city in there, and the person searching types in the city, then you're going to be on page 1. But if they don't, and they go with that, how it says near me, if they click with that, well, then it's going to divert. We'll lose that traffic, and it'll divert over to Google Maps and things like that. Google Businesses. Now, one thing that you can take advantage of, and Darren did it, where he went into his city and he made one on the brand and the city, because that's a term that somebody searching is more likely to actually type in, like a train dealer in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, wherever you happen to be, Dallas, Texas. They'll actually put the city in. It won't say necessarily near me. They'll want a dealer in this particular city or in this particular area. So that one is a lot easier to, if you don't have any competition, to get right at the top. Nobody's doing that either. And so that we've had a lot of success on those too. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think Google is really underutilized for a lot of small businesses, especially local businesses. So hopefully you guys are, listening to this advice, that it's definitely a place where your competition might not be yet. And so it would behoove you to definitely check it out. And looks like there's lots of resources out there for you if you want to take this a little bit further and explore that a little bit more. So let's talk about reputation management online. So your reputation online is everything. And so I've talked a lot about you have a lot of control over your message, over your brand, but your reputation is a little in the hands of other people because reviews are huge online. So you do have the ability to control your image online, even with bad reviews, good reviews, any type of reviews you get. And I'm going to show you a little bit about this today. So reputation management doesn't just correspond with reviews online, but with social media, it also corresponds with comments. If people leave comments on anything that you post, you definitely want to respond to all of them. It shows that you care. It builds that connection. It shows that you are timely on things. If you're going to respond to a comment, then you'll probably respond to a phone call. It just really puts your best foot forward, and other people are also looking at that. So if somebody comes and shows that and looks at something that you posted and it shows that you never responded to it, that's kind of putting something out there. So you want to make sure for all of your comments that you're timely, you're polite, you answer all the questions that you can. And if a problem ever arises, you don't want to deal with it publicly in comments. You always want to move it off of the public forum. You also want to respond to all of your reviews that you get. Again, you want to be timely, you want to be polite. You want to respond to both the positive ones and the negative ones. First and foremost, though, you do not argue with people. If you search like bad review responses online, like some of the things that people have done of crazy, how they've responded. But like when somebody actually is saying something negative about your business, the first thing people want to do is be defensive, is to defend their company. So you definitely do not want to do that. You don't want to get defensive, and you want to move it off of the public forum as quickly as possible. This is a common formula that you can use for responding to negative reviews. You want to state their name so that you actually show that you actually are acknowledging them. You want to thank them. You want to be, sorry for what happened to them, that they didn't meet your expectations, and you want to say that you want to do better. Then you want to say that they can contact you and give their contact information. Or if it's like on Facebook, you can actually say, you can direct message me and I'll manage this for you, and we'll take care of this the best way that we can, and you always want to say that you want to make whatever it is right. So this is a formula that you can use again and again, just so that you are you don't really have to address the specifics of whatever the review is. And a lot of times, some of the crazy reviews, like you can read them and they're going to kind of show that they may have been in the wrong, or they are a little crazy in what they're saying. So be the bigger person and make sure that you are not being defensive in those types of things. So you can also do this for all of your positive reviews as well. You can thank them for leaving such a nice review, and this is an example of what you can do there. Let me see. I have somebody unmuted themselves. Can't tell who it is.
Turn right onto North Dixie Highway. Hold on, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just can't find it.
It's me. I'm working on it.
There we go. I got you. Now you're muted. Sorry about that. All right. So again, you can also take the time out to respond to your good comments too. It's just like, responding to a compliment. It always shows that you're a bigger person if you can do that. So let me go back down here. Let's see. All right, so why is responding to your reviews so important? So 94% of consumers say that a bad review has convinced them to avoid a business. And I can tell you, For sure, I'm one of those as well. So by responding to your reviews, you're definitely giving people a chance that even if it's a bad review, they're going to give you a chance. 53% of customers expect business to respond to negative reviews within a week. I would suggest that you are on top of this and do it well within a week before anybody can see those reviews without a response on there. Because once they see that response on there, it gives you a chance to shine beyond anything that somebody has said. Everybody understands that mistakes happen. So 63% say that businesses have never responded to their review. So again, by you taking your reputation management in control and being on top of this, this is going to put you up higher than everybody else. Restaurants that do this, they really can outshine, a few bad reviews. So 45% of consumers said they're more likely to visit a business that responds to negative reviews. So just by making a response and making it timely can make a big difference. So don't let one review, throw out everything. You really do have a chance to take this into control. So you can control your image even if you get a bad review. So your response, though, you need to remember, it's not just for the person that wrote it, but it's also for everybody else, like over time, that's going to come and see that review. Once the review's there, like, you can't get it removed. Don't be, I went and looked at some and it was like, if you we'll give you your money back if you take off your 2-star review. So don't try to bargain with people. Just let them know that you want a chance to make it up to them. You want to do better and to contact you. Like I said, always move it off the public forum. So one of the things that you can do this is claim all of your sites. Like, make sure that you have claimed your Google site, that your Google business page, and make sure that you are getting the notifications for these. You can test that to make sure that you are, and you will get an email right when somebody does any type of review so that you can respond to that right away. Same thing with Facebook. Make sure that you have people that are admins on your account that are prepared to respond to things quickly and know how you'd like to respond. And this goes for any of your other sites as well that you might get reviews on. So another thing that you can do to really help your reputation management is to request reviews. You can make this part of your process and always ask for specifics in these reviews. By getting more positive reviews, because it's the only time people review is if they're asked to review, if you completely wow them, like some people will, or if it's something negative. Like, people are very quick to give you a negative review. So you want to figure out what your process is to get more reviews. And just by asking, people will give you reviews. We've worked with a lot of companies and got them, within just a couple of months, 50, 60, 70 reviews that they never just put in any effort at all. So all you have to do is put in effort for getting reviews. And you can do this on Facebook, on Google, on whichever ones that you want to. The people that you're working with, they're happy to review you. They just sometimes need to be asked. And it's not rude to ask. It's just something that people do. People like to refer. People like to, tell them that they did a good job. And that social proof is so important. So the top 3 mistakes are not responding to anything. That's always like one of the worst things that you can do. And so just by showing the effort and going and thanking people for their positive review, or letting them know that you want to make it right for a negative review, it is going to make a huge difference. The second biggest mistake is responding defensively. Like, if your first reaction is to get defensive, then either you can hand it off to somebody else, or you can wait just a little while, or you can kind of use that formula that I showed you before to kind of cool them down and move the entire thing offline. And a lot of people aren't really sure how to respond. And that's why kind of having a plan in place is probably one of the best things that you can do, so that you don't get knocked off your guard. If you know how you're going to respond, if you know you have everything taken care of, then you don't really have to worry about what happens if a negative review comes in, because people make reviews. Everybody has opinions. And so if you have a plan for this, this is probably one of the best things that you can do. So you can, like I said before, you can take control of your image and your marketing. So some action items that I have for you, and then Dennis is going to take over, is I want you to post on LinkedIn, go on feedly.com, find an article that might be great and share it. Post some of those things that we talked about yesterday with all those different ideas of how to connect with your ideal client. And then check out and follow some hashtags. Go on there and see what actually is going on in some of the hashtags that might be active in your industry. Also, make sure you claim all of your online sites, and always check to see what email is attached to them so that you make sure that somebody is getting that notification so that you can respond and have a plan for how you're going to respond so that you don't have to worry about what's going to happen if a review comes in, both positive, both negative. Have a plan, have it taken care of so that your reputation online is something that you don't even have to worry about. And of course, respond to all comments, good comments, give people thumbs up on there, because social media is supposed to be social. You're supposed to connect with people. It's like being at a party, and if somebody said nice dress, you wouldn't just walk past them, unless you're Dennis and wearing a dress. Sorry, Dennis. Obviously, if somebody gives you a compliment, you want to say something. So keep that conversation going and make sure you respond to people.
First of all, I have very nice legs. I could probably pull it off.
Those are some long legs, Dennis.
How do you claim your site exactly?
So when you go onto any of the, for example, Google, and you Google your business, it'll actually ask you if this is your site. So if it's Yelp, for example, go on Yelp, because these companies have like these bots that are out there that are trying to collect this information so that they always have the best information. So the information that they've collected is as good as they can find from public records. So Yelp does this, TripAdvisor, all these different sites do it. Angie's List probably does it too. All these sites do it. So they're just having just the minimal information that they've gathered. So Google will do this too. They'll make your own thing. But if you don't actually go claim that and say, I'm the business owner, and a lot of times they'll call you or they'll send you a postcard to make sure that it is you. Once you've claimed it, you have control over it, which means you're going to get those notifications for any types of reviews that you get. So if you don't claim it, somebody can go leave a review. Nobody's getting notified. Like, you don't even know that. So by Googling your business name, go and see where your business is coming up. That was one of the first days I said, one of your action items, go Google yourself, Google your business, and see what's coming up. You have to take control of it. Otherwise, stuff's going to be out there that you don't know. They're offering you all of these free tools for you to market your business, but you have to go out there and claim these things and say, yes, this is my business. And then you can update it, you can put pictures, all of these different things. And of course, like, the main thing is, like, if somebody leaves a review, you're going to get notified.
Gotcha. Perfect. Wayne asked a question in the group. Wayne, are you able to unmute and kind of just be a little bit more specific? He asked, what are your feelings about Yelp? Can you be a little bit more specific if you can?
Yeah. I guess what I was just looking for maybe your opinion on Yelp, because I've noticed you have to pay for their service to get your good reviews posted.
So I think Yelp, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I think Yelp was great. And I don't know if they got greedy or what it is, but I know they started not showing your reviews, or they almost like are keeping you hostage. The thing is that, like, you can't really do anything about that. Some people still use it. Like, I won't even go to it because I don't think that they treat business owners fair. And I don't think they're necessarily showing the reviews that they should. But we kind of got to play with the stack that we're dealt. So even if you don't do the paid option, if somebody reviews and you've claimed your business on Yelp, you'll still be able to respond to the reviews that are on there, at least the last time I checked. Josh, do you feel like that's still correct? Okay, we lost Josh. So
that was Wayne on there, but yeah, I've heard kind of the same thing, Tori, that they do kind of have that hostage type of a mentality. And I've also I don't know, I've heard stuff about that if you do business with them and then you cancel, they get pretty hostile too.
Definitely could be. But that doesn't mean that you should not be responding to your reviews there. And
Right.
I am pretty sure that you can still respond to reviews without being a paid customer. I mean, Angie's List is the same way. I mean, it's very paid. If you want to play, you got to pay. So I think you have to figure out in your area, like, are a lot of customers coming from Yelp? In some areas, like, it might be worth it to, deal with them. Still claim your business on there so that you can adjust it and that you can make reviews on there. And Google is not holding you hostage on your Google business page, and everybody Googles. So definitely go on there and claim everything that you can. All right.
Awesome. Is there any other questions anybody has for Tori on what she covered today? Or did she do another
Question.
spectacular job?
Just a question about reviews. Answer to the good ones and bad ones, or just kind of?
I think you should answer all of them. If somebody is taking the time to leave you a good review, take the time to thank them. And I gave you, let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Here is an option. And if you want to direct message me, like, I can send this over to you so that you have exactly what this says. You're acknowledging them and thanking them. And so everybody else that goes and sees your reviews, they're going to see that you went out of your way and thanked all of those people. I mean, I think that it shows your level of professionalism, and it doesn't take that long. It's usually like the little things that make the biggest difference, right? And these are just little things that you can do that are going to make a bigger difference. It doesn't take that long. Or like I said, you have a plan. Have a plan that somebody is there that can do this for you if you don't have the time to do it. But I do think it's that important.
Yeah, well, a negative review I like to respond to myself, because first I thank them for their business, and then I just gently explain the situation, and that's it. And I don't really have anybody that I would kind of trust to do that.
I understand that, but you're thanking the people that gave you a negative review for your business, but you're not thanking the people that gave you a positive review for their business. Like, reach out to them too, and give them that same warmth and that same thank you, not in a way like, I feel I have to do this because you left a bad response. Reach out to that person as well.
Yeah, nope, you're right. We're on Thumbtack, and we get so many leads, and we do so many jobs for them, and we just get reviews every day, and it's overwhelming. But yes, you're right.
I can.
Awesome. Tori, Josh asked in the chat, what if it's already been several weeks since they did the bad review?
I think that several weeks, like, go ahead and say something, like, better late than never. Like, if it's a year, like, maybe that's a little bit too late. If it's a couple weeks, like, definitely do it, but make yourself a plan right now so that this does not happen again. Set that standard that if somebody reviews, I'm going to respond both negative and positive, so that I'm showing that in business, I show up and that I'm timely and that I take care of things when I say I'm going to take care of them. You've got to be proactive in your business. And this is public. Everybody's seeing this. They're seeing how you're responding to customers. So if you can put your best foot forward right from the beginning, I mean, that's going to show a lot.
Love it. Okay, I think that's all the questions in the chat. Anybody else have any last question we want to throw out there for Tori? Nope. Cool.
All right, Dennis, you are a co-host. Regis and Kathy Lee, we are.
Regis and Kathy Lee. But do you have to stop sharing for me to share?
Yeah, Tori, if you'll unshare, and then Dennis, you should be able to share.
I have to figure out where that's at. There we go.
It should be in the bottom center. There you go.
Awesome.
Let's see if this works, Dennis. It did. All right.
Love it. Okay, so can you see my screen okay? Good. Okay, so we've kind of moved past how to post and essentially get some attention, but we have another problem out there that we need to get to. So what I want to talk about tonight is a little bit more of the marketing mindset that we have to have. I think Tori did a pretty darn good job at explaining how we have to post to engage, whether it's funny stuff, articles, whatever it is. But our mindset, once we get people engaged, when we're still doing our post, it has to change just a little bit, because we have that problem. And the problem is, how are we going to sell our products and services on social media without coming across as being pushy or slimy? Because we don't want to do that. That drives everyone out there. So again, a review, we looked and we saw our clients and they were asleep online. They're sleeping. They're not really paying attention to anything. So what we did is we essentially raised our hand and we got them engaged with us through our funny stuff, through our posts, our videos, our non-salesy stuff. We posted, we did some blogging, and we got them looking at us now. So, okay, that's the first step of the puzzle. They're not asleep anymore. They're now aware. So what do we do? Okay, they're aware, great. They're looking at us. What's the next thing we do? Well, what most contractors do is commit the biggest mistake they can basically do. What do? They vomit all over them. They start throwing, call me, look at me again, buy my stuff, here's my air cleaner, my $59 cleaning check, email me. They go right after them. And I want to think, if you were dating or you go to a party with your friends and you see that perfect guy or gal standing across the room and you run over there and you try to get married. What are they going to do? They're going to run from you in terror, right? They're like, get this guy or girl out of here. Online, this is what we're doing if we're trying to connect in this way. You're going to get more business if you just think a little bit differently than just running after them. This would be essentially, hey, here's my cool meme, look at me and get your attention, and then sales. There's tons of offers. Tori said that in earlier training when she was saying, I was looking and it was just offer after offer after offer after offer. Nobody attempted to engage them in the correct way. So when they're aware of your presence out there, this is the time that you need to introduce your story, because your story is going to connect them to you. And as I mentioned a little bit yesterday, the formula is, how do we turn connections into cash? So how do we introduce our story? Well, a connection, first of all, is about two things. It's about shared pain and shared possibility. So I want to think of when you also maybe go to that barbecue or you go to an event or something, you almost notice there's an almost immediate separation. A lot of the women are together, a lot of the guys are together. Maybe there's a group of veterans talking about their stuff. Maybe there's a group of lawyers talking about stuff, or real estate agents, or HVAC people. Why are they actually doing that? They share the same pain. And they also share the same possibility. They have something in common. Back to our dating reference. If you did dating where running up and saying you want to marry somebody, you're probably still single. However, if you went up there and you tried to get to know them, what do we call that in the dating life? Finding things that are in common. That's how we actually connect. We make the connections with our story. Now, here's the big thing about our story. Their story, your prospect's story, must become your story. I want you to marinate on that for a second or two and think about it. Their story must become your story. Why is that? The reason that it has to be that way is because prospects don't care about your current story. You see a lot of that marketing out there, locally and family owned. We do quality work in business since the beginning of time. All this stuff. We love our customers. We have great products, fast, friendly service. None of this means anything to them because they see this constantly. They don't care about how great you think your business is and what you can say out there. You think it's really important. And believe me, I get caught up in it too. I think my story and what I do is the most important thing in the world. Guess what? The only one who really cares about my personal story is me. Everybody else out there, they care about their story. What's going on with them? So you have to become their story. Now, some marketers, they kind of refer to this as, enter that conversation that's going on in the head of your clients. Try to get in there and figure out what's going on with them. And if you can accurately do that, and believe me, most of you have done this for quite a while. you've been asked enough questions by your customers, you know what they're going to ask, you know what they're thinking. The thing is our mindset goes straight to the offer. Okay, do you have allergies? Great, I've got this. And we just jump right at that thing. Again, we scare them off. We don't give them, because they might not be ready to buy yet. They might be at that point where they're just thinking about buying. Oops. I want to show you a couple examples. Now, Corey's brought this company up a couple times. This is one of the newer projects Tori and I have been working on.
Hey, hey, Dennis, can I interject just 1 second? Can you do a screen swap on your presentation? We're looking at the mountain. I think you're trying to show us something.
The mountain.
If you have PowerPoint or something, it should say screen swap. That should get you fixed up.
I do not see that button. That's not there.
May have to do a script. Look at reshare with your desktop then, and just make it big.
Okay, let me stop the share.
Sorry about that. We were watching the mountain.
I've had a cool presentation here. Let's see. Can you see my screen right now?
You have to reshare again.
No. Okay, let me go ahead and reshare. Not sure. Okay, share again. My desktop.
Yeah.
Boy, technology and old people.
Right. I think I might have to stop the share first, Pete.
You've stopped sharing. You're not sharing now. So you'll go down to the green button and share, and then select your desktop.
Yeah, it's not giving me the option for my desktop. That's interesting.
Okay. Then, I mean, we can follow you the way you're going.
Let me try this one more time. That sucks. Because it actually says I'm sharing right now.
Okay.
You are.
Tori, you're
sharing the camera to you.
I'm what?
You're sharing the camera directly to you, not to your desktop.
Yeah, I initially shared my desktop.
One of it's minimized down the bottom.
Well, I did do that before, but you said you guys said you guys couldn't see it right here, right?
Tell you what, let me see if I can do this. Just do a real quick. This just a real quick screen share just to reset it. Now I'm sharing with mine. Can y'all see that?
Yep.
And then I'm going to stop. Now try it, Dennis. There it is. We can see the mountain again.
Can you see my screen?
Just the mountain. There should be a selection to swap screen. And again, are you on an Apple or are you on a PC? Okay, I don't know their software.
Okay.
Cool mountain.
Baby.
That is a cool mountain.
I know.
And Dennis, is I don't even have. You can see the mountain. I've got my screen up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely not. That's weird.
Well, your call. Yeah. We can pick it back up on the next one, or you can just try to articulate it verbally. Whatever you feel like we need to do, because you know your content.
Yeah, that kind of stinks. I'll have to figure it out, and maybe we could throw it up in the next one, Pete, because I definitely have some. Let me try this.
And he's got the best visuals, guys. Oh my gosh, we're missing out.
Hey, Pete.
Yes, sir.
What if Tori relinquishes host and gives Dennis the host?
They are co-hosting, so they both have that ability right now.
Oh, you know what? It says only one participant can share at a time.
Right, that's why I think.
Tori?
No, and one of you did share at a time. We're good on that. That's why you could show the mountain. You wouldn't be able to show the mountain if you couldn't share. What you need to do is in the software on the presentation, there's usually a screen swap option. There is in PowerPoint. So When you go to presentation mode, you go to the top and it's one of the down arrows.
Yeah, I'm
See,
not seeing it on the Mac.
We're learning PowerPoint. What else you guys want to know?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, but that's okay. I'm fired up. I want to hear more about those stories. And coincidentally, Dennis and I have not talked about this. Go ahead.
When I went into presentation mode, Dennis, it was not allowing me to do it. So that's why I've had mine just open and like scooted over to the side. Because once I went into presentation,
Damn it.
Okay, that's the desktop.
Yeah, that's
While you're doing that, I wanted to elaborate on that too. Dennis, we're working on that on ICE as well. And it's funny, we haven't even talked about this, but the whole story, guys, this is what the marketing industry knows, and they've got this dialed in. And when we figure this out on how to let our stories align, because people are in their own minds, they're going through their own thing. But if you're telling a story in which they can see themselves stepping into, you become the guide, so to speak. And so, we're talking about the same type of stuff. It's a little bit, of psychology and all this crazy stuff, but this stuff works. And what happens is the connection is strengthened through the stories, and that trust factor comes up as a result. I'm just anxious to see your example on that. I want to compare it to what we're doing.
Yeah, I'll probably have to bring up later because it's so odd to me because it's not. I did exactly what Corey did. I brought it up, but I just kept it on the screen. I didn't actually start the keynote, but you guys for some reason did, so I'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, well, you and I can jump on a call. We'll practice it for the next one. No worries. I mean, not for mine.
Sorry about
anyway.
that, guys. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah, I had to get. Guess I should have said I had a presentation. Yeah, okay, we'll fix it out, guys. Sorry about that.
No worries. Well, we've eaten the hour up for the most part anyway. Maybe we can open up to a few questions. I think let's see here. Wayne chimed in a late one. Oh, Wayne was asking back on that on complaints, on negative reviews. And I just maybe he can elaborate. What if you get a false or an inaccurate review?
I'd like to say that if you go on Amazon and read reviews, you can see that no matter what the product is, the product could be the greatest product ever. There's going to be somebody in there that didn't plug it in. You know what I mean? It's like user error. There could be so many great reviews and somebody is still going to say how horrible it is. They're going to complain about everything, anything. Okay. There are going to be these people. The thing is that publicly, like, contact these people, see what happened, if they're doing a false or inaccurate review. If it's an employee that is a jackass and they come back and say a bunch of bad stuff about, like, don't get defensive. Say their name. Tell them that you want to make it right. I mean, you're not saying that they are right. Don't get defensive and fight with them publicly. It does not work. So somebody else said something too about bad reviews and somebody saying, not wanting to pay for it or whatever. Like, they're saying that they don't want to pay for it. Like, they're going to weed themselves out as like what I want to call user error. Don't get defensive and fight with them. Be the bigger person, use the script and take it offline. And then go out and get great reviews. These customers that love you, and that one review that sticks out, or, that is a shitty person that wants to, have that user error. Don't let that worry you and make you think that like it's okay. It's a disgruntled employee. I've seen these happen. The people are smart enough. A lot of times they can read that. And if there's one that all of a sudden you have some crazy person like making all these claims, like, people are going to understand that is going to happen, and it's not going to take out your business for that. Be the bigger person. Don't get defensive. Don't argue with them. Don't even bring up the specifics, and try to take it offline. I know it's hard to do because we want to defend ourselves. Like, they're hurting our business. They're like attacking us personally, but I don't know. Dennis, do you have something to add to that?
No, not really. It's just dealing with the stuff. I mean, it's tough. You're going to get your trolls out there that are just going to be haters, and they're going to do it. But, I think it's kind of easy if you really follow a conversation going on between a company and a disgruntled employee or something like that. If you follow it, it's pretty easy to find out who's being the big baby. And so at least I'd take that into consideration. Yeah, I'm the same person. I go down and read the bad review first before the good stuff. I'm just like everybody else. But, you know, if they're outweighed by a ton of good reviews, and then you see the company making that good faith effort to make it better, and they're still just, well, I hate your guts and screw you, blah, blah. Well, there's nothing you can do about it. But most people should be level-headed enough to recognize that.
And Kimberly said that she had a good experience with Yelp and doesn't have to pay anything. We get reviews and don't have to pay anything. So, you know, that's what I don't think that you would have to pay to respond to your reviews. And I know some people have had, you know, that Yelp works, and some people have had that they've had some bad stuff, but the reviews are still out there. So even if you're not comfortable with the company, like, don't throw everything out just because you have, you know, that you're not happy with them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Is there
Anybody else have any other questions?
Agreed. Well, we've about filled this hour up. Well, guess what, guys? We're going to wrap this up, the recording version of this, but usually I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but today I do. We're going to talk about Dennis's presentation because we're going to pick up where we left off. So we're going to learn how to make that connection and switch that conversation over and transition it to the point where you can leverage your message through the stories and other different strategies. So we're looking forward to that. So those of you who have questions after the live, we're going to end it right now. So we'll see you on the next one. And if you're watching the recording version, you'll find these over on YouTube in a playlist called Social Media for HVAC. We'll see you guys on the next call.
Cool. Thanks, Pete. Sorry.